An Indiana teen wants the state's highest court to weigh in on a case that questions what avenues juveniles have if they think their cases weren't handled properly. As Barbara Brozier reports, the case stems from a project aimed at ensuring kids don't end up in juvenile detention when they shouldn't.
Hundreds of high school students watched as the Indiana Supreme Court heard arguments in a juvenile case at Owen Valley High School. And it's one that could be relevant to some of them. Kids who go through court don't have the same options for relief as adults in the criminal justice system. When adults plead guilty, they can't file an appeal. This case questions whether that rule also applies to juveniles. In this situation, the teen admitted to a count of false informing at his initial hearing, so a judge sent him to a juvenile detention center. But the teen is challenging that admission because his current attorney says the lawyer representing him at the time didn't advise the juvenile or his parents of his rights, didn't explain any alternatives, and was ineffective in providing counsel.
We don't allow counsel to waive that for adult defendants, at least with respect to several of the rights. Why would we allow it for children who arguably understand less about the process?
The teen wants the Supreme Court to allow him to appeal a Court of Appeals decision, which says the case should go back to trial court, where the teen can file a motion for relief. His attorney argues that process can be lengthy.
Where there's clear error on the record, it just doesn't make sense to make a juvenile go back and do that process.
It sounds like everybody in the room had an attorney, right? Because that's one of the things that I want to find out and make sure that you guys know and understand that you had an attorney.
The case came out of the Indiana Juvenile Defense Project, which educates kids who are in detention centers about their legal rights. Attorneys started providing legal orientations for kids in the Department of Correction last year and have since found at least 7 who made it here without having an attorney at some point in their case when they should have.
When I meet with these kids, I'm kind of shocked to sometimes find that kids from some counties are ending up there based on charges over marijuana.
And the case before the state Supreme Court highlights those challenges with Indiana's juvenile justice system. The teen was accused of false informing and delinquency after he gave a different name and age to police and hospital staff while he was being treated for attempting suicide. His attorney argues that doesn't even fit the state's definition of false informing, and the teen is spending time in a state facility for something that would have been a misdemeanor if committed by an adult.
If he were an adult, and he was just a few months shy of being an adult, if he were an adult, he might get, I think, 60 days, 180 days.
She says this is a clear case where the teen's legal rights weren't fulfilled. That's now up to the Indiana Supreme Court to decide. There's no timeline for a decision. For Indiana News Desk, I'm Barbara Brozier.